that sucks.
To have this happen and to hear this happen, it breaks my heart, and it breaks most of our guys' heart on the defense.
But, Lano is a special dude, and he'll be back, and he'll fight through it, and I just can't wait to check on him.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Dan Fates here alongside all of his friends. No Mike Catalana, no Jenna Cottrell, just me. I am not being held hostage. I am just here in Pittsburgh in my hotel room. It was very hot after practice today. Once the day kind of got wrapped up, I just wanted to head out of the heat, so I thought I would give you a recap of what was going on here at practice, the joint practice, and obviously the big news of the day. So this is going to be a rambling. We'll see how long this goes. Obviously, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always. Look, we really appreciate that as we continue to grow. Obviously, the massive news of the day is that once again, the Bills will be without Matt Milano for some significant time. He has a torn bicep that he suffered back on Monday at practice. We now know that it's not good. And it really is just, it's heartbreaking news. Often we always think about football players as like robots. Like they don't have feelings, that when they make a mistake, it's all bad or something like that. So this is tough to swallow for a guy that has busted his ass and has done everything possible to get back on the field to then possibly just have his season taken away. It's too early to determine right now if he is lost for the season, but we know it will be a significant amount of time. This is what Sean McDermott had to say today about Milano.
And then, as far as Matt's concerned, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, right? Matt's a strong young man. I know he's going to handle this. Certainly tough, especially coming off of the year he came off of already. The good thing is he's got a good family behind him that are going to support him, teammates that are going to support him, as well as the coaching staff and our entire football organization. He's resilient. We've got to be resilient. We've got to move forward and be focused on solutions. Well, we're all human at the end of the day, and Matt's a heck of a football player. But if we back up and those of us that know Matt, he's a tremendous young man. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's been through it, and this game means a lot to him. This team means a lot to him, and so that, in addition to the injury, is what makes this difficult. Again, when you know the person, you know that this is not going to beat or keep Matt Milano down. Obviously this period in time right now has been tough for him, for all of us, but in particular for him and his family. And he knows all the work that he put in. No one knows the work that Matt put in to get himself back to where he was before this recent injury. So, that's probably one of the harder things to swallow, pills to swallow right now. Is we just saw him work his butt off. He stayed in Buffalo all summer. To get back off of the leg injury, and now this happens. So, it's unfortunate set of circumstances, but again, I know he's going to handle it well.
Now, after practice, we wanted to talk to some of the players, obviously, about getting their reaction. The most surprising one, and maybe the most surprised player by all of this, was Dion Dawkins, as us in the media broke the news to him.
When you get the news about Matt Milano, looks like he's going to miss a lot of time here. What were your thoughts? What's the vibe in the locker room?
We don't really know anything yet. Like we haven't. I don't even know what's going on.
Sean announced that he's going to miss some significant time with a bicep injury.
What, like a tear or something?
Yeah.
So all right. So, well, that kind of just hit me a little different. So, I'm gonna just go check on my teammate. I don't have no thoughts yet, but that sucks. But I can't wait to get in there so I can call him.
Yeah, and knowing what he went through to get back,
for sure.
How much does that even play into it?
Yeah, like me and Milano got drafted at the same time, and we've been here through every beat of this, and he's been through a couple of injuries now, and the journey just got a little harder, but Lano is a special dude, and he'll be back, and he'll fight through it. And I just can't wait to check on him.
Yeah, A.J. Epinesa also echoed similar points that he's heartbroken, but McDermott said it and Epinesa. Unfortunately, the Bills have been here before, and while I've talked about the safety position being one that I have a lot of faith in Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich and just filling in the pieces when players go down, we're kind of in a similar boat here with the linebackers. Okay, look, Bobby Babich has coached linebackers. He knows Dorian Williams well. He obviously knows Terrell Bernard. They lost Jermaine Edmonds. Terrell Bernard comes in, plays great. Obviously, they lose Milano last year, and the linebacker play was so-so. But I always go back to thinking about Dorian Williams, and that nobody thought that growth and that jump from year 1 to 2 would be as big and as impactful. So while I said don't panic about the Bills' first preseason game, I think there is, look, this sucks, as Dawkins says. This is a big problem that they will have to fill, and you hope that Dorian Williams can be the guy. He looked solid today at practice as we try and move forward and look ahead and recap actually what the joint practice was a little bit as we look forward to the preseason game. I will say this. You never have to worry about Dorian Williams and his speed and physicality. The dude flies around like his hair's on fire, and if you're in his way, he is going to lay you out. The question is where is his level of understanding of the system and the playbook? He says things have started to slow down. He has a better understanding. And they talked about the difference from year 1 to year 2, and even going back to Terrell Bernard, who they compared it to, where his first year, he got in one game against the Giants, and just that everything just seemed so fast and that he wasn't there. And then he understood things more year 2. So maybe that's the case with Dorian. That's the hope. But also you're going from, and they kind of joked around about it during the offseason, of Dorian going from a 2-lane playbook about this big to a NFL playbook and a complicated one. The reason you hear players compliment guys, especially on this defense, is that their knowledge of this system. That's why Damar Hamlin's been playing so well and has the respect of guys like Taron Johnson and them, because like he knows the system. He's the guy that's playing that knows the system. So Dorian being in another year in the system, I think will help. We are still have to wait and see. Do they add another linebacker? That's to be determined too. So again, I know people have commented in on where do you think the Bills could add players and things like that. I think they could be looking to kick the tires around on if there's another linebacker that is available. There's injuries all over this defense as well. Balin Spector's banged up. Dawson Knox is injured. We didn't see Curtis Samuel out at practice today. Things like that. So look, it's not great as the start of practice. That being said, as for the rest of the joint practice, I took down some notes and was kind of tweeting along the way. A lot of creativity, more creativity than we've seen at just a regular open practice at training camp like at St. John Fisher University. The Bills started out in the red zone, and it was really tough to kind of understand all of it because you have 100 guys on one football field, and they're all kind of working at opposite sides. So normally it's the first defense going up against the first offense. Well, now you're switching opposite fields because the Steelers' first offense is going up against Steelers' first defense over there and vice versa. So it was kind of hard. I was obviously trying to watch more of the offense than I was the defense. I did see Dorian Williams flying around today. I thought he looked, like we've said, his hustle is there. It's maybe more of the coverage, maybe the more understanding in that next level stuff. But I did see him fill a gap on a run play, get up, flex, show that energy. I think there's confidence in him moving forward. As for the rest of the offense, they started out with red zone, goal line, offense did. They scored on 3 out of their 4 trips. There was motion on top of motion, on top of misdirection, on top of a trick play. All of that was in there. They went 3 out of 4 to start. I thought it was just a telling sign where we talked about the standard not being where it was supposed to be against the Bears. And I think that lit a little bit of a fire under them, and they took that intensity into a joint practice. There was no fights. There was some pushing. There was some shoving. Khair, Spencer Brown, things like that. But it was nothing too intense. Again, a lot of guys knew each other beforehand, hugs, chats, conversation, all of that. So while it did get intense at times and you kind of had the energy of going up against somebody that's not your teammate, it really wasn't that ever feisty, I would say. But the offense I thought looked good. Also, I took some notes down from the one-on-one reps, which we've always talked about is wide receivers and corners and things like that. Keon Coleman got pressed on his first 2 reps, physical was kind of manhandled by the corners early on, pushed him out of his line, got him, too wide the one time, and there were 2 incompletions. I was kind of like, again, we've talked about that's where Keon's going to need to get better at releases and things like that. His next 2 reps, one perfectly. One, he went a crossing route he caught, and the other one was a double move where he faked the in and then went deep, and Josh hit him. KJ Hamler had a great day too. Everything that was thrown in his direction, he seemed to catch, as well as Dalton Kincaid. And the one guy that really stood out to me, and I know it's a lot of you guys have been talking about it, Ray Davis looked outstanding in the one-on-one reps as against linebackers and as corners. When he lined up out wide, he looked so smooth. And it's not fair to say like he looks smooth like Shakir or things like that, but for a running back, he looks so comfortable running routes, so polished tracking the ball, and his body control to contort and pivot. He made 4 catches I thought just looked so easy. So it opened my eyes to what I thought Ray Davis could be. I love him in the passing game. That really stood out to me as, whoa. And I know that he was second in the SEC in receiving touchdowns for a running back in that. So that was one of the things today where I went, that was a big arrow up for me. Cook made a couple catches too. I know people were, are always chiming in about that as I just try and look at some of my tweets else that I had for the rest of the day. It was kind of chaos because you're trying to follow things back and forth. Also, the other thing, this is a total side note, Darnell Washington may be the largest human being I have ever seen. He's number 80. He was a tight end out of Georgia. Just a mountain of a human being. They say 6'7", like 280. He looks like he's 7'5", 350. It looks like Spencer Brown is out there running routes. It is comical how large of a human being he is. But I also said I thought Josh, on the Josh Allen side, I thought he was really accurate, really good ball placement today. I know he's not getting hit. I know receivers aren't going to get laid out either. But it seemed like every time he threw the Dalton Kincaid, it was like a handoff. Like it's just an automatic completion to Kincaid. That's what Josh always had with Diggs. It was nice to see him continue that against another team. That was encouraging. Shakir, again, another solid day. He caught about a 30-yard seam route. Josh went over the linebacker in front of the safety for a touchdown. Zach Davidson also had a touchdown and a little celebration too. But that was my takeaways. Matt Collins had a nice catch as well. But yeah, that was kind of it. Players talked about they enjoyed the fact that they didn't have to go up against Dion. Dawkins said he was happy he didn't have to go up against Greg Rousseau and A.J. Epinesa, things like that. So the big news of the day, obviously, it's the Matt Milano injury. Crushing. The second story of the day is that Dorian Williams right now is going to get the first crack at replacing Milano, and how has he developed in his second year. We can talk more about that in the future. We talked to some of the players today, and they just said, obviously, the way that he flies around, somebody's going to get hit. They like his intensity, all of those things. Still, obviously, a work in progress. And 3, it was a joint practice, and there were no fights. So that was about it. Not much else. Again, I'm not being held hostage. This is just my my hotel room for the trip in Pittsburgh. The Bills are off tomorrow, and then the preseason game is Saturday night. I will be there as well. Jenna's back in studio holding down the fort. Mike is on vacation. Somebody's got to do the work. That's all there is to it. All right. For Dan Fates, and with both of his friends, all of his friends with him, appreciate it as always. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.